Hi, everyone, and welcome. I am Mikey Gray. I am a member of the class of 2008 from the Waldorf School of Princeton, and I had the great privilege today to bring some select members of my class together in what I'm treating as a reunion, but is also a way to share our own experiences of being Waldorf students from the perspective of young adults in early career positions out in the world today. So I would love if we just start by introducing everyone in our virtual Zoom room by talking about where everyone is currently, what you guys are doing today, whether it was pre-pandemic or today, and just if that career path or passion has been fueled at all by Waldorf, I would love to hear that. So who would like to begin? I can start. I just sort of said my name. I'm Mikey Gray. I am currently living in Chicago, Illinois. I am an actor all over the city. For film, television a little bit, and mostly theater. I'm also an assistant to the creative producer at Chicago Shakespeare Theater, so I'm a theater maker, generally speaking. And I credit all of my creative energy and passion, honestly, to my early childhood at Waldorf. Just being a storyteller has, not only listening to stories as a student, but also being instructed to tell stories in absolutely magical, creative ways has informed my career so specifically as a theater maker. So that's where I'm at.
And none of us are surprised. We all saw it in you since you were like a little kid. Like it's always been like your thing and your passion. Really cool.
Christina, do you want to just talk about where you are in the world?
Sure. Hey, I'm Christina. I am currently in Flemington, New Jersey. I'm a nurse at Hunterdon Medical Center. As a side hustle, I've been selling paintings, and that's definitely influenced from Waldorf. It's like my main coping mechanism and way to express myself. I love it. I don't know how much more I could say, but that's where I'm at.
That's great. DJ, I see the smirk.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, I'm DJ or Darius. I'm in Los Angeles right now.
We're at Waldorf School of Princeton, as it appears on your screen.
Yeah, I mean, also right now I'm magically at the Waldorf School of Princeton through some creative visioning, I guess. So my passion is film. I really feel like I drew a lot of I like what Mikey and Christina said, a lot of my creative inspiration from Waldorf, but I'm not necessarily a creative, I'm a producer. So for me, the other, I guess, more logistical approach that I really learned from Waldorf was thinking outside the box and, learning to assess a situation through many different avenues. And that's really helped me a lot. And I think that's one of the great benefits that I took away from Waldorf is that, I think somebody mentioned earlier, like, when you make a mistake, it's not necessarily a mistake, but it could be an avenue for something new. Too as well. So I think a lot of these type of lessons really helped me a lot with my career and helping me choose my career as well.
Okay. Hi guys. My name is Daniel. I'm currently in Rome, Italy. I'm about to finish my master's in aerospace engineering. Waldorf was really great for me because, especially now that I do mostly just a bunch of really technical, number-driven stuff, it definitely I enjoyed having this avenue for creativity when I was younger. And it's also not to say that Waldorf in any way held me back from pursuing a much more a technical degree or something like that.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah. So I'm Phoebe. I'm currently in Rochester, New York. I'm in my first year of med school. In terms of my Waldorf education, one of the things that I'm really grateful about is how much like hands-on work that we had in our curriculum. I think as a kid, like I didn't really know what I wanted to go into, even though I liked math and science. And as I got older, like being able to have handwork and woodwork and seeing how much I enjoyed using my hands, like now I'm kind of considering a career in surgery. And I think that my Waldorf education like genuinely had a pretty big impact on that.
Hey, well, if you ever come back here, I'll be your OR nurse.
That sounds good. We'll make a great team. I still have like 10 more years of training, so.
Well, I'm patient.
All right, I'm Priscilla. I'm currently living in Philadelphia, but I work at George School, where I went to for high school after Waldorf with Daniel and DJ. I'm working in the advancement office there in a job that I never expected to have. It kind of just worked out. And I actually think that's a really wonderful thing because my time at Waldorf definitely one of the biggest takeaways from the Waldorf community is the importance of community and staying connected with communities that you're a part of. And in addition to working in the advancement and alumni office at George School, I assistant coach the girls soccer team there. And yeah.
Great. Thank you all. It's like so beautiful to hear where everyone is engaging in their own communities in the world today, and just like the breadth of work that comes out of the same education that we all received from whatever age we started until 8th grade. And it's like so awesome to see all of your shining faces in this way. So I guess I just wanted to ask like a more generic question. We've sort of talked a little bit about where we are today, but I'm just sort of wondering how Waldorf, how that early childhood education has shaped you as an adult today, and whether that I don't need to necessarily hear just about like where you are today, but also how your transition was out of Waldorf into the world at large, because I know that is a major step for most people graduating from 8th grade anywhere. Yeah, so I'd just love to hear about that, the transition from Waldorf into the world.
I mean, I can start. I mean, I definitely felt that when I at least transitioned from Waldorf to George School, I felt pretty prepared academically, socially, and athletically. I felt that Waldorf really nurtured a lot of that. Also, it gave me some self-empowerment as well. I felt that the way that we learned at Waldorf, it was more engaging. It wasn't just like, okay, we're reading a book and we're taking facts from a book kind of thing. And the activities we did during class were usually like involved us, engaging in some sort of, activity or drawing or, physically writing the material into a book, which is so much different than just, reading a book and memorizing facts. And I think all of that really helped me just in general retain and learn a lot more than I think I would have otherwise. I mean, it didn't make it boring. It made it a lot of fun. It made learning a lot of fun, honestly. And it was fun learning with all of you as well, which I think was another huge part of it.
I think that's really great and really well said, DJ. I guess I also am curious to hear like what specifically, like what you've found to be in your sort of Waldorf toolbox, or what you've unexpectedly sort of credited as a skill or something in your life that you were using today, that you remember vividly as something that was introduced to you at the Waldorf School of Princeton.
I can definitely answer to that one. I think there's a certain resourcefulness that's taught to you by both the hands-on learning and like kind of being forced to think out of the box. Like I do remember being like kind of tossed into a situation. It's like, okay, well, like figure this out. And like, I don't know, it got you to use all of your mind. So I went to public school after the Waldorf school and found it, I was very academically prepared, but a little frustrated with how everybody seemed so exhausted by learning and all the tests, but there was still like an excitement to learn inside of myself and wanted to take different avenues to learn that subject. Like DJ said, like not just sitting down and memorizing out of a book for a test, but to like really apply it so I could remember it. It was really helpful for me to like continue that joy for learning when it could be extinguished so easily. in a lot of people.
I can sort of elaborate on that and speak on something else. The learning by doing was something that I learned specifically from Waldorf, and I learned that that's how I learn best. And I think another really important piece of the Waldorf curriculum for me was I actually struggled a bit academically in more of the math and science courses. And I think I excelled in like the more athletic and hands-on things. And so there was that space for me to be challenged and maybe struggle a little bit, but there was also a space for me where I got confidence. And I felt like I could make an impact there. So I felt like I had a space where I fit in and made an impact. And that sticks with me today. And also the importance of having like recess and time for all of us to be active outside. Not everyone loved that. I certainly loved that. And I think that was really important for me in my growth, especially sitting in a classroom and then having those physical breaks where you could get out and sort of work out that energy.
I think what I've heard from everyone is like the art, the hands-on experience. I also think we've mentioned numerous times already, like what the community is at Waldorf, specifically like the Waldorf School of Princeton family. And I just wanted to see if anyone had any thoughts on that and how that's driven your professional relationships or anything in your lives today.
Yeah, I can talk
Your
about that.
community is your family.
Yeah, I kind of had the opposite experience of Christina. So like I came from public school before I went to Waldorf, and I think for me a huge impact that Waldorf left on me was just honestly being comfortable like in my own skin and be comfortable expressing myself. Before I came to Waldorf, and I was really shy. We had big class sizes, and it's hard in like large public school classrooms for a teacher to really give you individualized attention, but we got that at Waldorf, and the community was so caring. Even like the parents of my classmates and my friends like cared for me truly. And I think that environment really was able to like nurture me and made me feel less self-conscious about saying what I felt or saying what I thought about. And it really helped me develop and grow into a person. And that made transitioning into high school really easy for me.
I think that like all of those relationships are super important, specifically the role of the main lesson teacher guiding us through every step of the way. And right now I actually just wanted to invite a special guest, which none of you guys know, so surprise. We have Mr. Leibner here today.
Oh my goodness.
No way.
Hi, Mr. Leibner.
Hello, that was so sneaky.
Good. We were just talking about community and the relationships that we've formed at Waldorf and how that's fueled the way that we work in the world today and continue to like lead us by example.
Yeah, going to school with people for 8 years and also having the same main lesson teacher. I know we had several, but even for a few years, I think it really creates a much more personal connection between the teacher and the student, and they're really able to specialize in the way they learn about each student and specialize in the way they teach them and tutor them.
It's like I talk to people like, oh, we never learned that in like 5th grade or whatever, and I'm like, oh, well, we did.
Well, I can sew pajamas.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I feel like we learned everything we needed to learn in elementary and middle school without the insane pressure and like standardized tests that other kids our age had to go through at other schools. And we
didn't remember it.
I really didn't feel behind at all when I got to high school. I was on the same level, and I just think I benefited a lot from not undergoing that kind of pressure when I was younger, and also just benefiting from the rest of the curriculum, of the more creative curriculum. And I don't think it's like to the detriment of any child at that age to not be exposed to the kind of pressure that you will face later. Because I think when you're young,
you don't need to feel that.
Yeah, I don't
especially
think you need
now.
to.
I feel like the pressure comes on so much earlier than when we were kids. Also, it's like a little bit frightening. So it's nice to know that there's still that outlet for.
Yeah,
that we're.
I look at it. It's like it's like a tree is not like a little sapling. Little tree is not going to grow in like a hurricane, right? You know, don't if you put too much. You know, if you put too much pressure on like a small, like on a plant that's just growing, it's going to be uprooted and just die instantly. However, if you like nurture it and give it a good environment when it's young, then eventually it can withstand hurricanes or whatever in the future. So I think that's kind of what we went through.
It's interesting to see that the perspective of time allows you patient that sometimes I think as a child growing up, maybe you want to be more like everybody else, and being different is a little bit unsettling.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really appreciate what you have if it's all you know. And once you know something else, you can like look at it in a new perspective.
Like now, to your beautiful metaphor, Daniel, like my pandemic project has been building a garden, which I haven't done since I was 10.
Yeah,
And
you know,
I've been painting the entire time. It's like
I have this like amazing newfound appreciation for like we have like herbs and stuff on our balcony. It's like I love it. I love like planting, you know, all these kind of things, and it's a kid.
But like patience and the dedication to actually like taking it slow and taking it growing thoughtfully.
I think that's
beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's another very important element of Waldorf is the pace is so much slower, and everything, like we live in like this crazy chaotic instant gratification like world with all our technology, and even before social media and that kind of stuff. And being exposed to that at a very young age, I don't think is really a good thing in terms of learning how to pace yourself. I think if you learn how to with Waldorf, for example, you need to create things with your hands, which inherently takes a long time, and you do it over weeks, or months to create this finished project. And I think if you can learn to kind of pace yourself in that way in many aspects of your life, that it's more fulfilling and just for yourself, but I think it's also more productive, or lends to better quality of output, even if you want to apply that to your work life or your school life or something like that. So I think that is definitely something that should be learned at a young age, instead of getting used to just a constant habit of getting instant gratification.
I feel like there's a certain sense also of like when you complete something, like for instance, we had a lot of different projects that we all did with our hands throughout our Waldorf time. And, there's a sense of self-worth, I feel like, when you complete something, and there's a sense of, like, you value your own individuality a little bit more when you create something with your own hands, and when you finish it and you see all the work you've done. I think that translates a lot into real life as well. When you're, as an adult, that's one thing I definitely look back on, is like, looking at those experiences as a kid. And like, for me, I wasn't necessarily like the person who was like the best one at handwork. And I frequently had to be coming back and finishing projects towards the end of the, in May. And I was pretty slow with handwork and stuff like that. But I finished all the projects I worked on. And even if I didn't do as many as other people, I still felt like a sense of, reward and self-worth. And like now as an adult, I still kind of draw on those experiences a lot.
I remember making frescoes. That was so satisfying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, making frescoes.
How are you guys handling all of the wildness that's happening in the world?
We had parent-teacher conferences Thursday and Friday. We took Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. And by Thursday, everybody was online. And of course, we've learned a few things since, but we built materials and learned how to use Google Classroom, and how to, have work and submit work and correct work and return work, and prepared materials and presentations. So people were quite nimble.
Now that I hear that, it's not surprising at all that the most creative group of individuals has sort of thrived in this, or like made it work, right?
A lot of my friends are like really depressed, so I'm like, it's cool, I can paint all day and like read books and play outside if I have like the energy that day. Like, it's been like actually a lot of really good resources you can pull on.
So thank you all for doing this, and I hope to hear from some of you. Haven't seen some time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming.